Very good. So welcome everyone to the Biblical Foundation, the book of Genesis, the book of beginnings. And we're on class 4. And once again, this is one of the most incredible books of the Bible. And we are here with a front row seat to the creation of the world and the universe. And it's incredible because nowhere else can you find the description of actually how everything started. So let's review last week. And last week was on some of the first verses of the creation week. And so we'll start with Christiani, please. If you can read question A in English.
Ways to fit. How?
So question A. So theistic. It's a hard theistic. It's hard.
And evolution, a vast age into the Bible. What are the names of the two theories?
Okay, very good. So theistic evolutionists. Do you remember what that means? So evolutionist, I think we know, right? So what does theistic mean?
Theistic evolution.
Teoria. No.
Say it again, Camila.
Teorias? No.
No?
No.
So think of theology. Okay, so theology. Okay, so theology is very similar to the word in Portuguese. And so theology is the study of God. And so this is the same root. I think it's Greek, same Greek root perhaps. So it's a God-believing evolutionist. Okay, it's a contradiction. I don't believe you can actually really believe in God and be an evolutionist, but this is what they are called. So what do you think? So we have theistic evolutionists tried 2 ways to add evolution's vast ages into the Bible. What are the names of the 2 theories?
Big Bang? No.
Say Big Bang is part of the theory of evolution, correct?
And gap?
Excellent. Okay, so the gap theory. All right, so you remember that's like the clothing theory. Okay, so the gap theory, that's one. Very good. That's the last one we looked. That's the first one we looked at. There's one other that started with the beginning of the creation week. And so one of the verses we studied said, there we go. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the
Moment is very big.
Okay. I remember.
Okay, what is it? So to finish the verse, it says the evening and the morning were the first day.
Que o dia não tinha 24 horas. Não.
Exactly. So the name of it is
Rotation. No.
It's the day age theory. Okay. So, and how does that work? So question B. So Camila, can you please read question B in English?
How does the second theory work?
Okay, so the day-age theory. Why is it called that? Now you remember age in English. English has a lot of words that depending on context have more than one meaning. So an age of something is, okay, your dog is, how old is your dog? Your dog's age is 10. That's one kind of age. But another age, particularly when it's used by geologists and evolutionists, it's a vast, long period, an age, the age of dinosaurs. Okay, so that's another meaning for age. So the day-age theory, then, how does it work? They say that every time the Bible says a day, the first day, which I just read from verse 5, they really mean a vast age. Okay, so it's not a 24-hour day, it's a vast age. Okay, so that's what they tried to believe. So let's go ahead and Christiani, can you read Genesis verses, chapter 1, verses 6 and 7?
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And the God made the firmament and divided the waters which are under the firmament from the water which were above the firmament, and it was so.
Very good. And you improved your pronunciation of were. So you said the waters which were above. An earlier time, you kind of said without the w of the W. So were, very good. Okay, and so who, I guess it's my turn to read, and let me see, I'll do this in Portuguese. E disse Deus, haja uma expansão no meio das águas e haja separação entre águas e águas. E fez Deus a expansão e fez separação entre as águas que estavam debaixo da expansão e as águas que estavam sobre a expansão. E assim foi. Okay, so then if there's no suggestions for my Portuguese accent or pronunciation, then remember, just jump in. If you say, oh, wait a second. And so question C, Camila, can you please read question C in English?
What is the means of God's action?
Very good, okay. You know what? And your pronunciation is improving, Camila. Okay, your English pronunciation is improving. Very good. You see, just 3 classes.
Emily is very good.
Oh, that's maybe it's Emily's, but not this class. It's Emily's class. Hi, lady.
Hi. Hi, guys.
How are you?
We're good.
Excellent.
Sorry, today we only could join this time.
No problem. No problem. We're actually on question C. And I was just complimenting Camila, saying her English pronunciation has improved. And so I said, oh, it's your 3rd class only. And I thought, well, she would say,
I think, yeah.
okay. So I thought, oh, maybe it was this class. She said, no, it's Emily.
Yes, Camila's English is improving so fast.
I agree. Okay. So Camila just read. So question C, can you repeat question C, Camila?
What is the mean?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
What is the means of God's action?
Okay. So we just read Genesis 1, 6 through 7, that starts with, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. So we were reviewing what we discussed last week. So what do you remember? What is the means of God's action? Does he throw something? No.
His word.
His word, exactly right. It said God said. And so now, Cristiani, can you please read question D in English? Cristiani, question D in English, please.
Why is that important?
Perfect. Okay, so why is it important? Why did I ask what is the means of God's action and why is that important? It's the first means of God's action in the Bible, right? So, well, why do you think God chose the word is his first means of action? Well, it shows the word, the extreme importance of the word. And we won't go to the verse now, but there's a verse that says the word is above all else. Okay, so it's the first, God's first action in history, in our history, and in creating the universe, and it's the spoken word, and he's emphasizing it's the word comes first. Remember, the word is the only thing that will survive the end of time burning up of everything, the conflagration. Okay, so the word is like the one thing besides us souls, besides, of course, us saved people. So the word is incredibly important and powerful. So now, Emily, can you please read question E?
In the universe, what might firmament represent?
Okay, so do you remember? Pedro last class was the one who aced the answer. And there's like two answers and he got the more difficult one. So in the universe, what might firmament represent?
Space.
That's exactly right. So that was the tougher answer. The easier answer is in fact in the next verse. Right, so remember, often I ask a question and the answer is in the next verse. So let's look at the next verse. And so that will be Monica. Can you please read Genesis 1:8, please? Genesis 1:8.
Okay. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
Very good. Now the word called, you said a little bit more like called.
Okay,
Okay,
called.
which in the time of Shakespeare, that's how they pronounced it. But now in modern English, it's called, not called. Okay, so what's the other thing that the firmament is or represent? Heaven. Okay, so God makes it clear now. Okay, so he said, all right, what I just said was the firmament, it's called heaven. So let's then go to, that was Monica. Camila, can you please read question F in English?
Why does God emphasize
I think Ben froze again.
I'm sorry, I don't know what it is with my internet. So why does God emphasize? So when it's a new word or a long word, then just go slowly and one, so emphasize. Okay, so what do you think? So why does God emphasize the evening and the morning of one day? last class I asked, isn't that redundant? Why does God repeat that?
24 hours. They have 24 hours.
Absolutely right. Very good. So God is emphasizing that the day is a 24-hour day. So God already knew that these crazy theistic evolutionists would take his word and try to distort it and say that, no, a day is not 24 hours. A day is a long age. Okay, so God already knew they would try to distort it. And so he makes it crystal clear that one day absolutely means a 24-hour day. So Cristiane, can you please read question G in English?
Why made God be dividing the waters below from the water above?
Okay, very good. The second word is might.
Might.
Okay, I think you might have said mit, but it's might.
Might.
And then dividing.
Dividing
The waters. Okay, so remember what God did back in verse 6 was he divided the waters from the waters. And he divided the waters which were under the firmament or space or heaven from the waters which were above the firmament or space or heaven. And so the question is, well, why is God dividing the waters below from the waters above? It's kind of a funny way to create the universe, isn't it? Emily, any thoughts?
No.
Okay, that's okay. So it seems funny because it's very hard for us to comprehend how the universe started. But what God is doing with his word is he seems to be saying, okay, the universe, whatever, he's first of all, I'm going to start separating water from water. And if you separate water from water, then something between is maybe drier. Okay, so it's like, and so it's unclear. We're talking about the universe. I said last class, it's unclear how much water is in the universe. And then Emily, who is a scientist and likes astronomy, says, no, the scientists said there's lots of moisture in the universe. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Science is confirming that God actually separated water from water, and there's water out there in the universe. Okay, not just water, inside, deep inside planet Mars. No, there's water in space, maybe. But so anyway, so we're now, something's happening. Maybe there's lighter water above, maybe there's heavier water below. Okay, maybe somehow gravity is coming into play. We don't know. But things are separating. Water is being separated from water, and something in between is called space and heaven. So let's continue. So Emily, can you please read Genesis 1:9 in English?
And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so.
Thank you. Okay, so let me try that in Portuguese. E disse Deus, ajuntam-se as águas debaixo dos céus num lugar, e apareça a porção seca. E assim foi.
Ajuntem.
Say it again.
Ajuntem-se.
Okay, there, thank you. Ajuntem-se.
Yes, very good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what do you think? So, well, let's go to question H. So, Monica, can you please read question H in English?
By switching from firmament to heaven. Has our perspective changed?
Very good. Okay, so remember, God started with firmament back in verse 7. And then in verse 8, he clarified, I'm going to call the firmament heaven. Now, I think we asked this last time, but when we think of heaven, do we think of something that's very, very far away, or do we think of heaven being, I think Emily answered this last time, the first heaven is the atmosphere. Okay, so our perspective might have changed. We've started with the universe and the waters being separated from the waters and the firmament or heaven, but now we're talking about heaven. And so maybe our perspective is coming down to earth, which is still, it's not really formed yet. Remember, it's formless. The earth back in, what was it? Verse 2 is formless. So I'm just suggesting we're experiencing a change of perspective. And then Camila, question I in English, please. Can you read question I?
What is dry land appearing?
Okay, so where is dry land? So remember, there's no land G, right? So a hard consonant, and that's difficult for Brazilians to end a word with a consonant. I have a story. When I lived in Rio for a short time for my first internship, there was a French restaurant called Club Gourmet. Club Gourmet. Club Gourmet. Okay. The way it was pronounced there was Cluby Gourmetchi. Because Brazilians they don't like hard consonant sounds, and they like ending words in a nice, soft, smooth way. So that's my interpretation of Brazilian character and linguistic evolution. So it's hard, but land instead of landy.
Land.
Okay, so where do you think, where is dry land appearing?
What's the meaning land?
Okay, good question. Let's see. And you're right, there's not this must be from an Anglo-Saxon root, because it's not a Latin root, and there's not a word similar to this in Latin. So let me think if I can land. Well, it's if when God is saying, so instead of going directly to a translation, I prefer looking. Okay, there we are. In Genesis 1:9, it says, let the dry land appear. Okay, so if it's dry land, what kind of thing is dry?
Ben, you were frozen, now you're back.
Okay, thank you. So it says dry land in Genesis 1:9, dry land. And so what if it's dry, what could it be? Well, it's where you plant things. So land is like soil, earth. Okay, all of that is land. Tierra. Okay, I tried to avoid, right?
Okay,
Okay, so where
thank you.
is, you're welcome. So where is dry land appearing?
Or the
Well, yes,
planet.
exactly. Thank you, Christiane. And here, and you know what? Maybe it's appearing out in the universe too. Maybe, right? Because at some point, planets are formed and they too maybe have some dry land. But I think our perspective now already is on Earth, all right? Because we'll get to what the consequence of dry land very quickly. Okay, so that was Camila. Cristiane, can you read question J in English?
How are the parallels between the two perspectives?
That's a hard one. Perspectives.
Perspectives.
Very good.
Perspectives.
Very good. All right. So what are the two perspectives? One perspective is the universe. And the other perspective is something that will soon become the earth. Well, I'll help answer. God said back in verse 7 or 6 that in the universe, he's separating the waters from the waters, and something drier is in between, which is he calls heaven, space. So the parallel is we're about to see on earth, he also is separating the waters above from the waters below. And what's between them? Dry land. Okay, so on earth, it becomes very specific. It's waters above, vapors, dry earth, and then waters below. Okay, so there's an interesting parallel, something in the universe and something more concrete on earth. So Emily, can you please read Genesis 1:10 in English?
And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good.
Okay, so there we are. Now it's our focus is right on earth, dry land. He just called earth, and the waters that are now consolidated are called the seas. So Monica, can you please read question K in English?
The earth started formless. What form might it be taking now?
Okay, so what do you think? So it was formless back in verse 2, and now maybe it is a square, a cube.
Dry land.
Say it again, Camila.
Dry land.
Yeah, okay, but what form? Is it dry land in a cube? No, in a sphere. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see in a minute if it's a sphere or not. And then Camila, can you say or read question L in English, please?
How was it significantly different than now?
Okay, that was a tough word. Significantly.
Significantly.
Okay, thank you.
Significantly.
Yeah, very good. And thank you for stepping in, Emily. I'm sorry my internet keeps on freezing. So what we just saw is how is this significantly different than now? So God said he's gathering together the waters, and there's waters above, dry land, waters below. Is that the exact way it is today?
No,
No.
it's a much better weather and climate.
well, you know what? This is actually paradisical weather, right?
Yeah.
So the Garden of Eden, it has a protective vapor layer, and there's no need for rain, no heavy rains. So I kind of like the drama. I agree with you. Drama can be fun. So it is. It's very, say it again, Emily.
It's because you live in Florida.
Well, wait a second. I'm sorry, summer in Brazil is dramatic too. Heavy rains. Okay, so let's go now to some new material. So we're going to continue looking at Genesis 1's first verses on the creation week. And so we're now at Monica. Can you please read Genesis 1:11 in English?
And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so.
Very good. That verb is yielding, not yelding. So yielding.
Yielding.
Yeah. And so again, when there's two vowels together, it's more likely that it'll be a open sound. So two vowels together. So yielding. All right, so let me try that in Portuguese. E disse Deus, produza a terra erva verde, erva que dê semente, árvore frutífera, que dê fruto segundo a sua espécie, cuja semente está nela sobre a terra, e assim foi. So, Camila, can you please read question 1 in English?
What is the importance of the first bring forth?
Okay, very good, very well pronounced. Okay, so yeah, this is an interesting verb, bring forth. I think in Portuguese, it's not as dramatic. The translation, the English here is more dramatic, bring forth. So bring is like, okay, something comes out, bring forth. So why is it important? Oh, but where am I picking that up? Well, let me see. You know what? Maybe that, oh, there it is. Yes. So let the earth bring forth grass. So what just happened? So God said, it's the word. The action is the word. But God said, let the earth bring forth grass. For the earth to bring forth grass, what's happening? Life, growth. You can also say it's a continual, he's bringing forth is starting endless creation. Okay, he's starting a life cycle. So it's a continual creation mechanism. Okay, so it's this is now, besides the word, we have some real action going on. We have grass, which is growing, or it's brought forth. And we'll get into this, and then look at this whole, and this incredible description. And then let's get to the next question, because this is an amazing verse. So, so the order slightly changed. So Emily, can you go next, please, for question 2?
What cycle is brilliantly described?
Okay, so let's look at the verse. So what, it's like grass, seed, fruit, kind, seed. What is this brilliant description? What is it describing? Well, say it again, Emily.
Plant life?
Exactly right. So it's not, it's life, which is terrific, but it's also the life, and I would go further than just plant life. It's the life cycle of plants. Okay, so God just, by his word, just created this incredible cycle where the herb, grass is a type of herb, yields seed. The tree yields fruit, whose seed is in itself. And so we're already getting an idea of an incredible life cycle for plants. So, and here's another thing. Monica, can you please read question 3 in English?
What might this be a type for?
Okay, so you remember what a type is. A type is like a reflection, an example. And the Old Testament is full of types for something that happens in the New Testament. So what does this sound like? So the earth brings forth grass, yielding seed, whose seed is in itself. So that's strange. So the seed is inside the grass, and somehow if it's a continual life cycle for plants, you can say that it's rebirth. Okay, so why is it emphasizing seed all of a sudden? Well, it's a type for rebirth. All right, so you have the plant, you have the grass, you have the fruit tree, and then you have the seed, and something starts again. Okay, so it's a rebirth. So now that's kind of interesting. So there we are, the first, here we are reborn Christians, or born again Christians, and already we have a type. Each one of you is a fruit tree, and your seed was completely reborn. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so question 4. So I'm gonna like give you some, I like throwing curve balls. Okay, this is I don't use many sports metaphors, but that's one. A curveball is from American baseball. Okay, where it feels like, okay. And instead of it going straight, a curveball goes. Okay, so let's look now at question 4. And that will be Christiani. Can you please read question 4 in English?
Prior to original sin, do you think plants died?
Uh-oh. Oh, that's a curveball right there. What do you think? What do you think, Emily?
I don't think so.
Okay. And that maybe not. then let me ask, did the grass just continue to grow forever and ever and ever?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because, right? And here I froze again. Okay, it looks like I'm back. I'm reborn. My connection is reborn. And so God is talking about seeds. And why do you need seed? It's the plant cycle. Yeah, the plant cycle is implying that there's a plant that dies, grows old, something happens, and the seed then comes up. Okay, so.
But animals didn't die, right?
There. Okay, so all right, so I think that's the difference. So now, and that's why it's a curveball. When I looked at this, I went, well, I thought death only entered with original sin. Apparently for animals and us, yes. But remember, it also says the creation, so that everything is now groaning. The second, the law of entropy, is that the second law of thermodynamics? Law of entropy?
I always forget between the two.
Right. So I don't know, but it kind of sounds like if you have a herb and a seed, and you have a fruit bearing tree, and the fruit is obviously the seed of the tree, then it sounds like you have the seed, so there's a cycle. Okay, so I don't know. It sounds like the plants are dying. All right, so I don't know. This is okay. So we'll have to think about that one. We can ask our pastors, did plants die before original sin?
I never think about this.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I love studying the Bible together with you. I never thought, okay, but we read carefully and like, oh, wow, different. Okay, so Camila, can you please read question 5 in English?
How does the fires after his kind anticipate?
Very good. Okay, that word phrase, I think you said phrase or something. So remember, there's a silent E at the end of it. Okay, so it's not phrasey, but the silent E, so it's phrase, but the silent E indicates that it's the open A, so it's phrase, not phrase. Okay, so what do you think? And God just dropped in another bomb. Okay, God is dropping. Okay, in every verse on creation, he's dropping bombs on us. Okay, it's like, wow. Okay, so this we have front row seats and things are dramatic. All right, they're very dramatic. So why am I at what's the big deal here? So Genesis 1:11, it says the fruit tree yielding fruit, which is seed, after his kind. What does after his kind mean?
There is no macroevolution.
Absolutely right. Okay, so what the phrase after, so what does kind mean? Now, here's another word in English that, depending on the context, can have very different meanings. So kind, to be kind, is to be nice. Okay, gentle. Okay, so kind is, sympathetic. Okay, similar to a Portuguese word, so sympathetic. All right, but kind as a noun Okay, then the kind that is nice, the noun of that is kindness. Okay, so the noun of to be nice, gentle, sympathetic, the noun of that state is kindness. But when kind is a noun itself, what does it mean?
Oh, family in biology.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit like type, group. So something similar is that, is another way. So kind. So Emily answered the question correctly. So why does the phrase after his, and this really should be what? I'm sorry, my English was bad. It's what does the phrase after his kind anticipate? And it's anticipating evolution, or rather lack of, how evolution is a lie. Okay. I just taught a course to teens in Saint Juan last winter, and the title of the course was Evolution, the Lie of Evolution, the Lie of Evolution. Okay, and so after his kind is saying that the fruit tree will only create a seed that's a tree, and maybe a fruit tree, but the seed of a fruit tree is not going to be an animal. The seed of a fruit tree is not going to create a rock. Okay, so that the idea of procreation, which is an interesting English word. So the word creation is what we're looking at creation week. Procreate is the act of creation when a mama creates a baby. I'll say to procreate is then, okay, it's when something is born. And that's then the verb procreate. So here it's saying it only procreates after his kind. And that is a direct contradiction of macro evolution. So let's look at verse 6. So Emily, can you read, sorry, question 6. Can you please read question 6 in English?
What are less insightful synonyms for kind?
Okay, so you know what a synonym is, right? So now that we've discussed kind, what are other words that are less excellent?
Less what?
Less excellent. Less good.
Oh, okay.
I'm implying that the word kind is excellent word.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's excellent word. It's like, okay, God didn't say types, families. Okay.
Okay.
What are some other synonyms that are common? Well, we don't have to get too scientific, but there's genera. Oh, genera. Here we go. Maybe I think I have that correct. There's gen. But that's a scientific name. What's a very common name? Darwin even wrote a book with the synonym in its title.
The species.
Species. Excellent. Okay. Now, I'm going to share with you. Remember, I am a King James Bible fanatic. Okay, fanatic. And okay, the Alameda Corrigido Fiel is excellent. It's the word of God in Portuguese, but the translation here is less excellent. It uses species. Okay, and so why am I, because and Emily knows this now, species in fact the way that species are defined today, you do in fact get maybe one species going, creating, evolving to another. So I don't think this is correct, but you know how dogs maybe start out as one dog and then it created lots of different dogs. Now they're not each species, it's not a good example, but species is too specific. Scientifically, you do sometimes get one species going to another, but kind, no. Okay, so the English translation of God's word anticipated evolution better. So, okay, so there's my King James Bible plug. So let's go to Monica. Can you read Genesis 1:12? And we're finishing up. Monica, Genesis 1:12, please.
In the evening, what? Sorry. And the earth brought for grass, and her yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God said, so that is was good.
Very good. It was good. And your pronunciation was good too. E a terra produziu erva, erva dando semente conforme a sua espécie, é a árvore frutífera, cuja semente está nele conforme a sua espécie, e viu Deus que era bom. All right. Now it sounds, so I have a crazy question. And this is now Cristiani. Can you please read question 7 in English?
What the differences between 11 and 12?
Okay.
Are they significant?
Yeah, very good. Are they significant?
Are they
And
significant?
just, you know, it's often in English biblical term, a V is for verse. Okay, so you can say,
Okay.
okay, verse 11, verse
Okay.
12. Okay,
Thank
it's
you.
just a,
Verse.
all right. So why am I asking? So it seems repetitive because Genesis 1:11, and God says, or said, let the earth bring forth grass and the herb yielding seed and the fruit yielding tree, the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind. And then he repeats it all. And then it's okay, so God said, and then it happened. And then he repeats it all. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit. Why bother?
God says something and it happens immediately.
Absolutely. Okay, I like that. But what's the difference? Do you see any actual difference between these two verses if you look at them very carefully? And not just because the very end of it says, one says it was so, the other says it was good. That's different. What's the other subtle difference? Well, in the first one, it says whose seed is in itself. And in the second, seed was in itself, past tense. Okay, so I don't know if you heard that, but past tense. So the first verse is, and the second verse is was. Okay, so as Emily pointed, it already happened. Boom. So again, the creation cycle is already started. It's not just theory. God he lays down the theory, and then boom, it happens. So let's finish up with the last verse, and that will be Camila. Can you read Genesis 1:13, please?
And the evening and the morning were the third day. Third day.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. All right, and I'll try that one. E foi à tarde e amanhã o dia terceiro. Emily, can you please read question 8 and we'll finish up with that.
What formation was critical to the third day?
Okay, so let's okay, wait a second, I have to go. What a like boring teacher. All right. The
Yeah.
Portuguese is more fun. It's like chato. So wait a sec. So where did the second day end? The second day ended in verse 1:8. Okay, so the third day started back in verse 1:9, and we just finished up with the third day in verse 13. So what was the really big and critical thing that allowed all this to happen? And not just God said, but rather what was the, what was like the boom? Well,
The earth all in one place.
okay, and then to be even, yeah, that's absolutely right. And it's, all right, it's the dry land. Okay, so it's the, so it's the dry land on earth. Because remember back in verse 10, God separated the waters from the dry earth. Okay, so the earth was okay, but he had to separate the waters, have dry earth, and then the dry earth is when we could have plants. From the sound of it, so dry earth. Okay, so I'm so glad that you survived several curveballs, and that we all get to think together on things that are, we discover things together, reading the Bible and studying it carefully, right? But if I'm reading Genesis 1 myself, right, I'll go, blah, 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 right? You know, I'll read it and go, okay. But here we are, we take an hour together to study together a total of 7 verses. And those verses are incredible. So I really appreciate your company and the huge blessing it is to study Genesis together with you. So any questions or comments before we stop the recording?
It's a blessing for us too.
Say that again, Emily.
It's a blessing for us too.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Any other comment or question? Any other question?